Riley Davis is here to help us break down North Carolina's blue versus white scrimmage. You can watch the full thing on YouTube. Shout out to North Carolina for suddenly deciding to make video of their team playing basketball available to the public. Didn't see that coming, but I love it. Riley, correct me if I'm wrong, you were there for this.
Boots on the ground inside the building, Greg.
Yeah. Wow. How did it feel to be back?
It felt great. It was nice. I had my wife and my son with me, was not in the media seating. Hilarious. One single person was credentialed media for this game. Like you looked at press row and there was literally one person there. Shout out to him. I don't know who it was, but I
We
respect the grind.
we don't know who the person was. I was going to say, who's this legend?
Well, I saw Tar Heel 24/7 uploaded the Caleb Wilson interview afterwards, I think like outside of the locker room. And so maybe it was him. I don't know which representative it was from that publication, but yeah, they do some good work. So maybe that was him. Respect to the grind showing up in the media seating. For me, I'm like, dude, just this is one of the few times where if you cover the sport, you could go with your family. And yeah, I wanted to do that with my wife and son. Also, low stakes because it was free. And that was nice because my son was locked in for about 5 minutes. Then he decided he cared more about Ramses. But still a lot of fun. A lot of fun to watch it with my family and got some good takeaways. I thought definitely saw what we needed to see from some of these players to confirm what I think you and I are probably in alignment on and what we believe will be the strengths of this Carolina team, but still honestly have some of the same question marks that I think will persist at least until the BYU scrimmage in 2 weeks and maybe into the season.
Yeah, I can't wait to see them against a real we know they're a top 10 opponent team, right?
Mhm.
Because I feel like a lot of this early stuff, this is like our fourth weekend scrimmage video of like inter squad scrimmage stuff. And we just did Duke, we did Indiana. I struggle when it's all within the context of your own team. I have no idea to know what the actual caliber of the game is. Like I know how to come away with conclusions on players outperforming other teammates and like what could their role be.
Right.
I just have no idea, like, is this a top 10 team? Is this an NIT team? And I don't think I know. I watched this full this full video. I really don't think I have a clue how good this team is. Like you could tell me Caleb Wilson is a top 4 pick in the draft. Bogovats is awesome. And this team's legitimately going to finish second in the ACC. You could also tell me
Mhm.
this is not going to feel all that different than last year, and there's a lot of disjointed issues and like turnover problems. I thought those were kind of prevalent throughout. So, anyways, we'll get into some details here in a moment. But that was one of my starting points. Is I can't tell how good this team is. I can tell how good Caleb Wilson is. Let's start with a positive. I still insist that he's just awesome. I feel like in recent weeks that's flipped from me from like he's a 5 star, but is he more prospect than player? I don't really think it matters. He led the white team in scoring. Did he lead the whole scrimmage in scoring? No. He was right
I think
behind Trimble and
Bogovats.
Bogovats.
Yeah. Bogovats finished with 14. I think Bogovats and Trimble both had 14. Caleb had 12. But you saw like the full arsenal of his game. He had an explosive finish on off of putback. There was one play it didn't result in a highlight because he kind of botched the lob attempt, but he spun out of like Jaron Stevenson's defense, drove to the hoop and hit Henry, like attempted a lob to Henry Vasar. They just couldn't connect. But that to me is like one of those plays that's among the most intriguing just to have that big to big passing because I can't remember the last time we had two players of that caliber in Carolina blue, where you at least see the vision for that. To have two guys with that size, with the athleticism to pull off a play like that, and I hope we get to see Caleb Wilson and Vasar connect on some of those. But I thought there was a couple times where he either had Zayden High on him or Jaron Stevenson on him, and it seemed like he was trying to prove a point. Like I'm the 5 star kid, I'm gonna cook you in the mid range, and like his moves looked good, but it led to a couple bricks, and it felt like he was settling. However, still hit a couple nice mid rangers. Has really good touch around the basket. I think that's something that gets lost in his arsenal. Just when you look at the measurables, when you look at the athleticism, and you know the 3 point shot is a bit of a question mark. Like his touch inside the arc is really really good, and I thought that was on display in this. Finishes through traffic well. Just did everything you wanted to see, other than like maybe if you could get nitpicky, you'd like to see one made three and maybe one more highlight dunk just because it's a scrimmage. But yeah, I think I left thinking Caleb Wilson's pretty clearly just a different stratosphere in terms of athleticism and prospect compared to the rest of the team.
Different caliber player, prospects, however you want to define it. I just think he's in a league of his own on this roster, and maybe that'll change as the season goes on. Maybe some other guys will catch up, but I don't think so. And I think that's fine. I think that's what you're hoping if you're North Carolina. 13-6-3 from him was the box score, and most importantly, the win. For those of you that didn't watch the full video yet, we should note this is how the teams were split up. Caleb Wilson, Vasar, and Kyan Evans together on the white team with Jaden Young, Jonathan Powell in between them. On the blue side, you had Trimble, Bogovats, Jaron Stevenson, Zayden High, James Brown, Evan Smith. I don't have too many issues with how these were split up. I think my general, I don't know, I guess presumption would be the white team should have won this game, and they did. I think you
Hmm.
had the full starting front court of Wilson and Vasar with PG1 in Evans, with Jonathan Powell, who I think in my head is a top six player on this team. So
Hmm.
you kind of left the blue side with Trimble, Bogovats, and nothing, in my
Yeah.
opinion. No offense to High and Stevenson, but Stevenson did not impress in this game, and there hasn't been a lot of positivity around him that unless I've just missed it. We should note the two freshman guards didn't play, so maybe that's hanging over this. No Dixon, no Dennis in this game. But what did you think of the way the teams were split up in general, and what does that say? Was that an attempt at even teams?
Yeah, and to your point on Stevenson, I really feel like anything that's come out of Carolina this offseason has been pretty quiet until we got the Jamie Shaw practice report last week, where I think he highlighted Stevenson as someone who was flying around all over the court and had a really good day. To where I don't know, with him, it's always been the idea of Jaron Stevenson's really good. You know, a multi-positional forward who can hit threes, who has decent vertical athleticism and is a really good defender. But I think through 2 years at Alabama, and even you saw it on display in this scrimmage, where there are just times where it doesn't look like he can put it all together. And he was really streaky at Alabama, and it's like at least you know at the very least he has been a 15 to 20 minute per game player for a Final Four team and a team that made the what did they make this year, the Elite Eight, and got a 2 seed. I know they eventually lost to Duke. I think that was in the Elite Eight. Like he has been a role player for a high level team, and you know that about him. But yeah, I would have liked to see him finish a little more of the drives that I thought that I thought were scripted for him in this one. Had some nice defensive moments, but just didn't really wow you on offense. Had a really clean look from the corner and just missed it. So yeah, there's I would say as of right now, Jaron Stevenson and it's kind of left me wanting. And when you look at the way those two teams were split up, I think it makes what Luca did even more impressive that he had 14 and hit four threes in this game when there was literally no other shooting threat on his roster, or none that are reliable, I would say, where it's like Seth and Zayden High and Jaron can all conceivably make threes, but I mean, still largely unproven on that end. And you saw some of the ugly spacing with like running essentially three bigs, but yeah, Luca to me was a huge bright spot in this one.
Yeah, we can flip to Luca in just a moment. Last lineup related question to me. There's no way this was starters versus bench, was it? Because Luca and Trimble.
Yeah, yeah, those two would be in the starting lineup in place of Powell and
But
Young.
the idea of Evans, Powell, Wilson, Vase, like I almost would buy that Powell's in contention to start on this team. So it made me look twice because I think one group definitely had four of the top six,
Mm-hmm.
and like I don't know what Hubert was trying to do with that. You know?
I mean, I think they really like Jaron Stevenson. I think the coaching staff is high on him. Maybe they're still viewing him and Powell as more as equals, but it probably would have been little bit more even if you put Stevenson on the team with Vasar and Wilson and let Powell give another shooting threat to that team.
Or at minimum, maybe like I'm framing Kai and Evans as PG1. And if
Hmm.
you don't look at that, like the one team had Trimble and Bogovats. Those should be the two best perimeter guys on a team.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, I don't know. Just interesting. I found that interesting to say the least. Talk to me on Luca because eye test wise, his jumper looks great. Thought he has some very cool European off the dribble kind of quirk to his game that
Mhm.
people will like. He is also, I got to just present something as a negative. He's the only guy on Team Blue that did not record an assist in this scrimmage. So if he is going to be like an offensive hub, is it just these quirky step backs? Is there any playmaking upside here at all? Because he was on the team with Trimble, who does not have a reputation as a playmaker either.
Yeah.
So what do you see with your own eyes from Bogovats?
Yeah. Do you want the optimist side or the pessimistic side of his playmaking first?
I want all of it. Give me the full picture. Dion, how's your job going?
Beginning of the school year, everything's like a little up and down. One of the biggest issues we've had is we can't find any uniforms for our girls' sports teams.
Mm. That's a difficult thing to find a solution for. I know damn well all about that because I got a daughter that just turned 2. She's into sports and she's already outgrowing every little piece of sports apparel she had. Thankfully, I know Clara Kate Creations. Clara Kate Creations was started by a former high school teacher who quit because it wasn't cost effective to send new twins and a 2-year-old to daycare. She found it easier to make girl sports apparel than finding it to buy. And I am so thankful that she exists because if we have an old shirt of Murph's that she's outgrown, we can send it in and she takes that piece of apparel that means something and upcycles it into an outfit that Murphy can now wear as she grows up. She makes great stuff. It's honestly kind of like your fullback's wife, Kyle Juszczyk. Is that how you say it? She does that. But honestly, I think Clara Kate's coming for Mrs. Juszczyk's job.
I love that. I'm a big Juice guy. Love his wife. Love Claire Kate even more than both of them, though.
You can send in your own custom ideas and she will come up with a design. She's just the best. Look up Clara Kate Creations on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and more.
All right, let's go bad first. He had 3 terrible turnovers in this game. He dribbled off the back of his foot, attempting a wraparound in transition. I think he got walled off his original spot and tried to find a cutter along the baseline and just passed it right to Jonathan Powell on another. I think there was just another like just wild pass trying to make plays out of pick and roll. That would be the bad, as those turnovers are like, ooh, man, like this is supposed to be the veteran who's played pro for years overseas. Like I get it's a scrimmage and there's a lot of turnovers to go around. Like Kai and Evans had a couple really sloppy turnovers we can get to. Wilson, I love the vision. He attempted like this sick skip pass that just ended up in the first row at one point. That was like the one critique of Caleb. But yeah, there were some of those that kind of caught my eye. Like, yikes, I just expected that to sort of be worked out by now. And granted, they're still early on in practice, so there's plenty of time to clean it up. But I thought he also made some nice pick and roll reads that did not get completed because he was passing to James Brown, who either got fouled or like just couldn't finish the play. He had a couple feeds to James Brown where he teed it up to him around the basket. And Brown, I think, is just still a work in progress and he's only like 6'9". Like you flip that with Henry Vasar instead. Vasar's taking a step and elevating above defenders and flushing some of these passes. Like there were 2 times I can think of where you can go back and watch the full game on YouTube, but I watched and was like, okay, that's like an impressive read out of a ball screen here to where I still think that's there to work with, even though it's not his strength. And as much as I did love the 3-point shooting, like you talked about, Greg, he gets to those pull up jumpers with ease, loves getting to his step back, and it looks pure every time it leaves his hands. I did leave this game wondering if like some of my expectations for Luca to take on some lead guard responsibilities, if those should be tempered a little bit. I don't want to say he's just a 3-point specialist, but I wonder if there's more of a world where if his ceiling is like a Ryan Conwell type player who can do some stuff off the bounce, but you're still going to look at his shot log at the end of the year and it'll be more 3-point attempts than twos, won't get to the free throw line a crazy amount. He could still average 15, 16 points a game, but it's just there's not going to be as much rim pressure and as much getting into the lane as I had hoped.
Is he a junior?
Yeah, he's listed as a junior now.
So he should we think there's 2 years of him?
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of what we're going into the year of as a plan?
I hope so. I think
Okay.
sometimes with these European guys, maybe it's a year by year commitment. But when again you look at his buddy Tom Ivisic, who seems like he's at Illinois for the long haul now, to that would give you some hope that you can get Luca penciled in for 2 years.
Well, and he's in the bucket where you're not like worried about him trying to sprint to the NBA, right?
Right.
That's not
Right.
even if this season goes great. I don't think that's a goal necessarily here. It's not like he's trying to prep to be a Minnesota Timberwolf in a year. I think. Look, I liked what I saw from Luca. The shot making is really fun at minimum. I think you can work with it. I thought the turnovers were bad. I thought the turnovers plagued more than just Luca in this game. To be honest with you, and you were in the building, I wasn't. So feel free to correct anything that I say that you think is just flat out wrong or disagree with. My biggest takeaway from watching this full scrimmage is that it feels like a really talented team without a point guard. And if they don't have the freshman, maybe it will change when we
Mhm.
get to game 1. Um, I have not been inspired by what I've seen from Kyan. I just haven't. I understand that he is sort of the pseudo point guard on this team. I just think there's caliber questions there, and I don't think a team let's call it what it is. Even if he was the point guard, a team with Trimble Wilson and Bogovats on it is not going to have Kai and Evans making the plays for those guys. So in a weird way, he kind of might fit with them as a guy who can spot up, but I still like it's leading me. I think I'm figuring out what I think this identity of this team is. And we've talked so much about how different it is from last year. I'm not so sure it is. The more we see it, like Bogovats needs the ball and he wants to step back.
Hmm.
Wilson needs the ball to do everything Wilson does. Trimble needs the ball to barrel through people. And meanwhile, you have a point guard that's not as good as those guys that might actually have the ball. So, am I crazy for starting to think that reminds me of shades of last year, even though they're all new players?
I can see where you're coming from, just in the sense that like you could look at this like, okay, Wilson, Trimble, Bogovats all need the ball. How is this going to work? How are they going to smooth it out? Where I
Like,
would say
those are
I
the
mean
three best players pretty clearly, right? Or are you putting Vasar in there?
I thought Vasar was really good in this game. I
Okay.
didn't think he like there were times where it looked like he was mailing it in on defense, which that needs to change when the real games start. But this is where like what I would say is my hope to sort of fix that the primary initiator issue. Like take Luca and Seth, if you give them the ball and tell them to go get a bucket, you generally feel comfortable with that. Caleb as well. I think Caleb, I've said this before, I think Caleb is closer to a go get you a bucket type of player than he is not. Like Seth still has his limitations, I think. I thought he had some really nice pull-up jumpers in this one.
I
Uh,
thought he was great in this game from
yeah,
what I saw.
yeah, yeah. I think I would like to. My only critique for Seth is like he gets into the lane, he always goes to his euro, and every once in a while, it'd be nice just mix it up a little bit. But he created pull up jumpers, knocked down a couple threes. But to where I would say like maybe this works, maybe this is a foreshadowing of what's to come. You saw Vasar initiating the offense a lot. Like they were running five out concepts with him at the top of the key and letting him do dribble handoffs, re-screen, get guys to the hoop that way, get the ball in his hands like off of a roll, all that type of stuff you'd like to see where it is a mix up of what it was last year. They had Caleb Wilson bringing the ball up the court as well. Like I mean, maybe there's still probably going to be times where there's over dribbling and not enough movement that drives Carolina fans crazy. I just think that's going to happen. We're going to see that. But at least you have bigger players doing it, or you have this wrinkle of running the offense through Vasar and seeing what the guards can do around him. So yeah, that to me I think was probably the most stylistically important takeaway was just how involved Vasar was as a playmaker. I think he finished with 11 points, so nothing crazy, but better than we saw of the 2 points in the camp scrimmage earlier this summer.
Yeah, he looks good.
So
I buy Vasar for sure too. I just I don't know. It's like I look at the 2 through 5, Trimble, Bogovats, Wilson, Vasar. That feels contender worthy to me.
yeah,
But they also feel like they're three guys, and then Vasar, who's unique in his own right, but three guys that are all thinking bucket at all times. Like Caleb Wilson to me is the guy out of that group of three that can play make for other people.
hmm,
And Caleb Wilson, I would not classify as a guy who's like trying to get other people the ball.
yeah,
So
true.
I don't know. It's a lot of like put orange thing through 10 foot thing again. And weirdly,
Mhm.
I don't know if this is maize and blue colored glasses. It really might be. Although know I'm still not this guy's biggest fan. One of my takeaways from watching this was that Cadeau would be perfect for this team. Like you finally built the right team for Elliot Cadeau. Like Cadeau would help Bogovats so much, and he's gone, and now it's Kai and Evans' turn, you know?
I mean, Carolina fan, you're not alone. There have been Carolina fans who have said all offseason, like, this team is actually made perfectly for Cadeau. It's just, like, I firmly believe it was best for both parties to move off. Like, that marriage needed to end. They both
Yeah.
needed a fresh start. So I get it completely. But yeah, that was what you said about the 2 through 5. Like, I look at that group of four, and I texted this to you, but I wouldn't be surprised if any of them made an all ACC team. But the question marks are beyond that. Like, Powell and Stevenson can both be role players for high level teams. Kyan had some moments in this one. I thought he had some really good defense. Like, he had active hands. He made a three. That was off of like really good ball movement where I believe it was like Henry pushed the ball up the court, found Jaden Young in the corner who swung it back to Kyan who hit a three, which like that's the type of ball movement Carolina lacked last year, which you hope will be a sign of things to come. But at the same time, I think Evans had some terrible turnovers. Like he got ripped by Evan Smith, who's a walk on. Like you just have to be aware of that in a scrimmage that's publicized. Like you don't get ripped by the walk on.
Yeah.
Do whatever you can to make sure you don't give it up to him. But I thought as a whole, he looked. I mean, he whatever cliche you want to throw out about him, like he's a heads up passer or whatever, he does all that, can push tempo. And I would say he had some nice pick and roll reads as well. But yeah, I still think the turnovers to me, they looked a little reminiscent of what we saw at Colorado State when he was the primary ball handler. And I left this another big takeaway aside from what you said with the 2 through 5 being solid is this team really needs Derek Dixon to come in and probably play 20 minutes a game as soon as possible. And
Yeah.
it's not saying Evans is only going to play 20 minutes a game, but I just think there are times where you can take if Dixon. I mean, I was at Dixon's press conference last week. I asked him a couple questions, took a video of it. The audio was terrible. I didn't tweet it out. I was really bummed because I got to say Riley Davis Sleepers Media, which is fun. But, Dixon said he's almost been exclusively playing the one this summer. So that was telling to me is that they want this kid who's 6'5", lights out shooter, decent playmaker. Again, I say decent though. He's not known for his playmaking. Maybe we'll see with that. But if he's shifting, if he can play make and you see more minutes with Kyan at the two, it probably works out better for everybody.
Yeah, it's ominous too. It's ominous if like we're putting all the minutes for this kid into one position. It tells
Yeah,
you about where the opening is. So,
yeah,
yeah, I won't judge until we see those guys. I think some of the ball movement clips we saw when they were on court for this team in the last couple of weeks, it looked a lot better than what I saw in the scrimmage. So maybe the freshmen are the answer there. We'll see. But yeah, lots of like overall stock up, stock down, stock neutral for you after watching the scrimmage.
I'm going to say stock neutral. I still think it's a back end top 25 team. If the pieces all coalesce, not to foreshadow too much to what Caleb Wilson said, I think they can soar higher. But yeah, still have some question marks I want to have answered. But still, before any Carolina fans in the comments come after me, which there are plenty who saw me at the game and said something to me about being too negative, I am excited to watch this team. Let me be unequivocally clear.
Are people just running around to you like you hate our team at Carolina now? Is that what's going on?
That's a bit of an exaggeration, but I did have a couple people say I'm too negative.
Oh, all right. Well, shit, I don't like contributing to that. But all right, yeah, I'm stock neutral too. I really have no idea what to make of the caliber of this team. Stock up, huge, Caleb for me. Stock steady, which is higher than everybody else. Seth Trimble for me. I genuinely thought Trimble looked like the best player on his team the entire time. Um, Stock down depth, at least without the freshmen. I didn't
Hmm.
love anything outside of the big three in this game.
Hmm.
And stock down Hubert Davis's kid on the team. We gonna talk about that?
It had one of the worst bricks I've seen. Really ugly jumper. Your dad shot 40+% for his career from three, man. Like let's clean up the mechanics a little bit, make Pops proud.
One thing that is obvious after seeing the form on that jumper, Hubert has spent a lot of time coaching his son.
Okay, that's me.